Hello, good evening, and welcome to Follow Everton. My name is Ryan, and this is the match preview for Everton versus Borehamwood in the FA Cup. There's a game taking place tomorrow at 8:15 at Goodison Park. The Toffees will be hoping to reach the quarter-final stage of the competition, which would be a really good feat. And I think the competition seems to be opening up nicely with the likes of Tottenham Hotspur being knocked out yesterday. And I'm looking at the Chelsea score at the moment and thinking, can Luton get a result? Not quite sure what's happening with Liverpool and Norwich at the moment, but obviously it would be amazing to get the Reds knocked out because I think they'd be the one team that I really wouldn't want to play. But coming into this, obviously Donny van der Beek and Dele Alli are cup tied, unfortunately, so the two of them won't be available. So perhaps an opportunity to switch back to the 4-4-2. The main thing that I want to ask people today is, what sort of team news are you expecting? Sorry, what sort of lineup do you want? Because Borehamwood are in the 5th tier of English football. They're a professional side, but they're the lowest ranked team I can remember us playing. And I think even our third choice or under 23 team should be able to get a result. And by that I mean the likes of Nathan Patterson, Lewis Dobbin getting opportunities at Goodison Park. So what sort of changes would you make? Would you go really strong, get the game won, and then bring players off? Or would you like to see Everton start some kids and some fringe players and give some opportunities to the likes of Lewis Dobbin and Nathan Patterson, who haven't really had a look in? In terms of the team news, then obviously with Calvert-Lewin, I don't know whether he'll be risked for something like this. He said 10 days for Calvert-Lewin, so I'm not sure he'll be available anyway. An opportunity perhaps for, I don't really know who with the team I'd go with. I'll have a go. I think I'd throw in Nathan Patterson at right back for sure. I'd give Pickford a rest and go with Asmir Begovic in goal. At centre half, Jared Branthwaite, I think he'll play this game. Give Michael Keane a rest. And really, I'm not quite sure who else you can go with other than Mason Holgate, because the game's too soon for Ben Godfrey. He's a week away at minimum. He is training now, but I think it'll come too soon for him. Yerry Mina obviously is still a couple of months from being involved. At left back, Mikolenko. So there's your back five. There's your back four there. Patterson, Mikolenko, Holgate, Branthwaite, and Begovic. Moving into midfield, there's not a lot of options because you don't really want to play Decore, I don't think, in this game, with him just coming back on the weekend, and obviously with the big game at Spurs and Allen as well. You really would ideally like to take them out. So I think Andre Gomez will play. Obviously, Tom Davis is injured. Van der Beek and Ali are suspended. So I think ultimately it could be Tyler Onyango perhaps getting a game in midfield, or one of the two of Allen and Decore. Out wide, Andros Townsend coming back in, and I'd go with Damari Gray. He's come back now. I'd give him a run. I'd give him 60 minutes. So Gray and Townsend on the wings, and up front is where the question marks are going to be. I think ultimately you should be able to get the game won with Rondon and Jenk, but I would give Lewis Dobbin an opportunity up front alongside Richarlison and go and get the game won fairly swiftly and straightforward. So there's my team: Begovic, Patterson, Mikolenko, Holgate, Branthwaite, Andre Gomez. I think it's going to have to be Decore, Townsend and Gray, Richarlison and Lewis Dobbin. And I think there you've got a bit of a mix. A couple of players in Patterson and Mikolenko getting opportunities. Same with Lewis Dobbin. Go and get the game won with a strong team and then start thinking about Spurs. I think, we can't underestimate what Boreham would have done to get to this stage. It's not the quarterfinal. So, but it's this last 16. They've done really well. They're not, even in the football pyramid in terms of the League Two, League One, Championship and Premier League. So they've done a fantastic thing to get there. They'll be very aggressive, I imagine, and they'll work hard. But obviously, I think the Premier League quality and the fitness will just be miles apart. And I thoroughly expect Everton to turn them over, really, no matter who plays, in terms of whether it is fringe players, whether it is a lot of under 23s, or whether he goes absolutely full strength and just gets the game won. Because I think there is a case for that, really, because Borehamwood did knock out a Championship team. And also because it's going to be a sellout crowd, 39,000 people at Goodison Park, live on television. So there's no margin for taking the piss here. Go and get the game won, maybe with a strong team, and then start making changes. But I think my team would be fair and would do well enough. So moving on, also today, Everton news, USM sponsorship. I mean, it is typical, isn't it? The main sponsor of Everton, USM, who've been paying overly inflated sponsorship fees, shall we say, to get first refusal on naming rights and to get the training ground sponsored and the women's team and the sleeves and all this. I mean, it's madness, really, because it doesn't really happen across the league. But because of the ties with those companies and Russia and then the oligarch and all this sort of politics, I'm not going to get too much into it because I'll be honest with you, I don't know the ins and outs to the level maybe that some of our viewers would want before I can divulge into it. But the bottom line is the connections there with Russia in a way, with it being in a Russian companies, and Usmanov isn't Russian. He's from Uzbekistan and Mashiri is from Iran. So they're not Russian, but the company itself operates in Russia. Megaphone, for example, one of the sponsors is the biggest telecoms company in Russia. USM is a holding group. It's got Metillo Invest and lots of different companies. I think they've got shares in Facebook and Klarna and all sorts of things going on. So Everton have had to sever. It's suspended was the word that they used. So they're not. I think they're removing everything to do with them from the training ground and from all the kits indefinitely. And we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously, if you're taking out politics from it, it is a blow for us because they've been paying extortionate fees for sponsorship that we wouldn't really be able to get from elsewhere. And it is a form of self-sponsorship because Farhad Mashiri is an 8% shareholder in USM. So he's sponsoring his own football club with his own company as a way of investing. Ultimately, if I don't know how that works, I don't get how you can sever ties if you are part of it and you're the owner of the club. I'm intrigued to know what people think in the comments. How is that possible? He owns a portion of the company that's sponsoring the club he owns, and he's distancing himself from it. It's very bizarre. But what I want to know is at the end of the season, what's going to happen if this thing with Usmanov's company, USM, I should say, if that is a permanent break, where do we go? Because we haven't even been able to get a sleeve sponsor. So I really don't trust us to be able to get any decent sponsorship for the stadium, the training ground and the women's team and all that. So it is a massive blow. I'm not going to lie. It's a lot of money and I don't know where we'll go in terms of commercial deals in the future. Want to know what people think. Let me know what you also think about the Borehamwood game in terms of your predictions. I'm going to go with 5-0 to Everton. I think they'll go and get the job done convincingly under the lights, and it'll be a good opportunity for some of the kids. With regards to some other news, I think just before I wrap things up, this isn't a long video tonight because there's not an awful lot to talk about with regards to Borehamwood. And I just wanted to make sure I had put something out before the game, in fairness. The penalty incident against Man City. I mean, I didn't talk about the City game too much. We did a sort of a reaction from the car, and it wasn't ideal. But obviously, Everton played fantastic. I think they were robbed of a point as a bare minimum. And the penalty shout was gross negligence, wasn't it? In any other job, if you make a mistake of that error, you are getting serious consequences, potentially even losing your job. So, for me, the apology means nothing because it won't change anything. And the refs, I don't think, will learn from it. I'd love if the clubs, all voted and said we want to hear what the refs are saying to the VAR assistant and that they can hear it and that the TV viewers can hear it. I think then you've got less margin for error. I think there could be more accountability as well. And it's just fair as well because I think, there was no explanation for that Rodri handball. But if there was, it would be fair for the fans and it would be nice, for them to hear it and for us to have heard it in their time. Obviously, it's not going to change anything now. They're not going to award us a point. They could make a big thing of it and award us a point retrospectively, but it's just never going to happen, is it? But the whole thing is a farce. I mean, as Mark is saying in the comments, it's a scandal. Because and the way I'd agree with you, Mark, with that, because it's not just that incident. I mean, I look at the Newcastle game we played away, and John Joe Shelvey played a red card tackle. That wasn't given as a red card. There was a Southampton away game where it's a clear handball as well. It's his hands in a natural position. That should be a red card. So not a red card, sorry, a penalty and a yellow as a bare minimum. But we're not getting the decisions. And when you're getting a lot of bad luck anyway with injuries and things not going your way, and a lot of, the goal we conceded, the Michael Keane one, is slated Michael Keane so many times, but it is unfortunate error. I just think you need at least the things that are black and white to be black and white and not shades of grey. So look, we were robbed of a point. The apology means nothing. I don't even know why. I think the reason we asked for it actually was, I think it highlights the issues with the refereeing, and then I think in future games we will get some form of, not goodwill, but I think we'll start to see some decisions go away because we've highlighted these things now. But we'll see. There is VAR against Borehamwood. Hopefully we won't need that, and we'll be a straightforward win. Let me know in the comments what you think about the game tomorrow, the 8:15 kickoff. I did have a ticket, but now I've got to work, so I'll be watching it if I can. I will watch it, but I shouldn't say that. But I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed that I can't go now because I think it's going to be great. But let me know what you think about the game. I'll pick up the comments after the stream's ended, your predictions as well, and also your thoughts on the news that Everton have suspended their relationship with USM, one of the key sponsors, and the company that our own majority shareholder is a shareholder in. So make of that what you will. Final comment from Mark. He's saying Richarlison being fouled by studs on him. I think it was Matty Cash, not even got a yellow card, took Richarlison out of the action. I mean, I remember that Aston Villa game. We should have had a penalty there as well. We've been robbed. We've not had anything go away all season in terms of decisions. Right, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel. I'm Ryan, the host. And make sure you like the video wherever you're watching. Take care and enjoy the game tomorrow. Bye.